God, Keith.
Yeah? What's going on?
It's 2015. Is there anything more annoying in this day and age than like someone's profile picture or something that's like all incorrectly stretched and warped?
Wait, there are people who have incorrectly stretched profile pictures?
I'm looking.
Are you looking at like a mom?
No, I'm looking at like this thing that at first I thought might be. Okay, it's some kind of ironic Tupac Twitter account.
Okay.
It seems like it might have been someone who was like dedicated to tweeting Tupac lyrics and then also decided to just make it their personal Twitter account or something. But just like the fucking Twitter image is just like a picture of Tupac that's like way too skinny. What are you trying to get away with, guys?
What are you trying to get away with? Tupac wasn't that skinny.
Like even Twitter lets you fucking
resize shit, crop it.
They let you crop your shit. That means you had to upload a picture of Tupac that was already too skinny. What the hell are you doing, Tupac Twitter guy?
You know what? I'm on your side here. Why are you looking up Tupac Twitters?
He followed me.
Oh, this is a spam follow.
Yeah.
Or this person really likes Let's Plays.
No, I don't think it's a spam. Hang on. Oh, you're right. It's totally spam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for sure spam. Yeah.
So I think maybe a bot chose that picture. Do you think do you think spam bot creators make their own? Like they choose the profile picture?
And here's the thing, though. The banner is another Tupac thing, but it's too wide.
Oh,
it's like this fat ass Tupac.
Tupac wasn't that fat.
Get the fuck out of here.
So what's up?
Keith, welcome to
Wes,
a new special.
Thank you for welcoming the host as the bailiff welcomes his judge. I am your host, Keith Carberry. Welcome to the 22nd episode of the Run Button Podcast. Bailiff Kyle, how are you?
Keith, yes? Thank you for joining me, the host, for the 21st episode of the Run Button Podcast. Listen, Keith, I'm not gonna
sit idly by.
I'm not gonna steer you wrong here.
Okay, I was close.
I'm not gonna pull the wool over your eyes. I've been drinking just a little bit.
How much?
I'm not gonna say how much because I think it would further incriminate me as a total lightweight.
Okay.
So let's just say, not that much.
I was drunk for the first time recently.
Wait, for the first time ever?
Yeah.
What?
It was boring.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. If you're battling for host supremacy on your own podcast that you host,
it's exciting. It's very exciting.
It could be pretty fun. It could be fun.
What I was doing was. I wasn't alone, and then I was mostly alone, and then I was playing Heroes of the Storm with my friend John.
Oh yeah, you have to not be alone.
Well, I was on Skype talking to my friend John.
That's the alcohol. They refer to it as social lubricant. Keith.
Right. Well, I was socially talking to someone on Skype.
It's not I was doing solitary lubricant.
I was doing exactly what you are doing now.
Yeah, okay.
All right. It was a little bit boring. I wasn't. Here's the thing. Here's what it felt like. I'll describe the feeling that I had. It was kind of like, I was able to communicate exactly on the level that I normally am, but it was a little bit harder. But if I tilted my head, I maybe would have fallen over totally.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I have it. It sounds. So, when I say that I have trouble communicating and talking to people, While when I say that on this podcast, it probably sounds as ridiculous as it sounds in my normal life when I tell people that I have a podcast where I talk a lot.
Right, yeah.
Because they hear that and go like, but you never say anything, and when you do, you usually can't look me in the eye, and it's like in these weird chopped up half sentences.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
But
maybe not as bad. It used to be. I think I used to be worse than you, and now I'm better.
There's definitely like a small amount of alcohol can help me be more normal. Like I can just talk to people and it's not weird and I can just do it. So there's actually been a few times. I think there was one time in high school, where I had to give like a presentation in front of the class.
Did you go to school drunk?
I snuck like a tiny bit of vodka in a water bottle.
Okay.
So that I could drink it before class. There's also been
Kyle, you're a
couple
fucking
times.
Dangerous student. There's been
a couple times where I like took a shot like before a job interview or something.
Okay.
Usually goes pretty well.
Yeah?
It usually is better than not doing it.
I think that I'm the world's greatest job interview. I've never interviewed for a job and not gotten an offer for the job.
Never, ever?
Not one single time.
What?
Yeah, never. Literally never have I interviewed for a job and not gotten it. The day will come.
Here's the thing. It's not... Because I know you, so I know that you don't deserve every job you've ever interviewed for.
Hold on. But I have not interviewed for the highest of falutin places.
That's true.
Like, we're talking about the snack bar at an ice skating rink, Starbucks, GameStop, a pizza place. Like, these are not the best places in the world.
Oh.
Also, I'm very talented, and any place would be lucky to have me.
You've never interviewed for CFO of Johnson & Johnson.
I haven't interviewed for CFO. I did interview for...
CXO?
Yeah, for CXO. And they did offer, but it was... the hours didn't match up, and so... yeah.
Right.
And it was a lot of flying, and I don't mind flying, but, like, I don't want to spend... I don't want to leave my cats alone,
Right.
So I was like, no,
that makes sense.
You can take your 1.2 mil a quarter and shove it.
Quick access to a private jet would give you a lot of extra time to spend with your Denver family.
That's true. I always feel bad about having... But first of all, I always feel bad about having
your
a secret family
in Denver that your other family doesn't know about.
I feel bad for having that family, and then I also feel bad for neglecting them. And it's definitely neglect.
Right.
And here's the ironic thing. I told them that the reason that I'm always gone is because I'm constantly flying for my job as CFO of Johnson & Johnson. I could have fixed this whole thing by taking the CXO job and just saying, no, honey, you misheard. You and the children misheard. I'm the CXO.
Right.
Yeah.
Chief Experience Officer.
Yeah.
That was, you know what? It was just like when Michael Jordan went to the Wizards, but he still got to keep his number. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like that. Like you were CXO at Microsoft after Jay Allard stepped down,
right.
And then when they brought you over to Johnson & Johnson, they just figured, well, we'll just keep you as CXO because you're so good at it.
You're good. Yeah, it's a lateral move mostly,
right? Because
I am CXO at GameStop right now.
That's in this case it's Chief Xbox Operator.
Right, yeah. It wasn't a promotion so much as just everyone that works at GameStop quits.
Right, yeah, because you know what, it's not that good.
At a point.
I was looking at job listings recently.
You're sick of the airport?
I saw well someone was sick of someone.
Ooh.
Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
But I saw a listing for, it was like a makeup store or anything or something. It wasn't like a job I would have actually applied for, but I just noticed that it was the job position was called key holder. And I was like, what is key holder? And Nicole was just like, it's just like a shift leader or like shift supervisor or whatever. And I thought back to like experiences in retail and remember like, the shift leader is they don't do anything except they have the keys.
Right.
But man, when you just actually call the position key holder, it sounds awfully reductive.
It does sound pretty reductive. Yeah, I am technically a key holder at GameStop. They include me as part of the management. And there's basically nothing that I do there that, like the assistant manager, I can't. There's not really anything that the assistant manager can do that I can't.
I remember years ago, I don't know what became of this. There was like a class action lawsuit towards GameStop from GameStop managers, and their argument was that like they're salaried, so they don't get paid for overtime, like all this extra. They're expected to work free overtime and all this stuff, and supposedly the trade-off for that is like, hey, you're the manager, you have control over the store, and their argument was like, but actually the GameStop Corporation controls every single aspect of what we do in the store, and we have no power over anything, so we're really not a manager of anything, and you're just making us work free overtime.
Yeah. No comments.
You're not salaried, are you?
No, I'm not salaried. I am hourly. No. I do not feel comfortable commenting on the business practices of GameStop. Is all.
Okay.
There's a weird turn of events where this could lead to me being fired. So.
Oh sure. I mean, listen, Keith. In a world where you can't support rape video games without getting fired from GameStop, I mean, surely you couldn't say anything about GameStop.
Wait, hold on. What happened?
If they're willing to fire somebody over defending rape video games, what could you say?
What? Hold on. So first of all, what is this video game that you're talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
It was a while back. There was some like game. I mean, there's tons of these games in Japan.
Okay.
Maybe tons might be overkill, but there are definitely an assortment.
There's more.
And it's just rare that one actually gets translated to English or something. And I think this one was called Rapeplay.
Oh, I remember all about this. I don't know the GameStop involvement. I just remember.
We actually talked. You might not have been there, but me and Andy at least definitely talked about this on an old episode of Complex Rockets. But it was just some guy who went on the record as working for GameStop and said like, oh, you gotta understand, things are weird in Japan and they're all sexually repressed and they don't know what to make of things. It's a different culture, so something. I don't really remember the details, but I already said what it was.
Right. Yeah.
Some guy was like, hey, this isn't so bad. Hey, chill out. By the way, I work for GameStop. And GameStop was like, no, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, companies are weird, and so we don't say stuff about them because they're mean and dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, not GameStop.
No, not GameStop. And good on them for firing that creepo, for sure. I want to separate the two things where good on them for firing somebody and I don't want to get fired.
Sure, who does? Right?
Not you, but too late?
Far too late.
How did you get fired from another place?
No, let's not talk about this.
No?
This is not a thing I want to talk about.
Were you playing PlayStation 4 games on your Vita?
I mean, not recently, but it certainly didn't help my case.
Did you have your Wii U plugged in underneath your desk and you were playing Bayonetta on your gamepad?
No, luckily, I don't think anyone ever found out about that. I don't know. It's funny because it's way back when, like, a lot of times you start a job, you don't know what the boundaries are, Keith. So,
wait,
like,
sorry,
I think that you don't know what the boundaries are when you start a new job.
Right, yeah.
And so it's funny because I know what management at that company got mad about later, and I'm like, man, I had no idea that you were going to feel this way about this thing. Imagine how pissed off you would be if you knew I plugged in a Wii U under my desk.
What was the thing they were mad about?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this.
No? We can talk about the time that I got fired.
From where?
From Barnes & Noble.
Oh, let's talk about that. What happened? Oh, did we talk about this?
Do you know why I got fired from Barnes & Noble?
I think you and I talked about it. Go ahead.
Okay. As a fun goof, I was bored one day, and I started writing Keith sucks on stuff.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
You completely left this out of what you told me.
I was right. This is a...
Because you're a dirty liar.
No, this is a story that spans months. I probably gave you the short version. I started writing Keith sucks on stuff. Just like, not a lot of stuff, like in erasable marker on the like erasable marker calendar that we have to say when food goes bad and to throw out. Or like I think I wrote it on a pen. And apparently people saw it and they were like really concerned about me and they were like pointing fingers at each other, not knowing who did it. And I had no idea that it caused like kind of a micro uproar, but people were very upset that somebody was potentially bullying me. And a few months later, as
Keith, quick side note, one time in I think 3rd or 4th grade, me and another kid, Joel, who used to be like my best friend and then suddenly was like no longer my friend, we were both in trouble, probably for fighting or arguing or something. And we were both pulled out into the hallway, and we were left while like the principal was going to come and talk to us. And while Joel wasn't looking, I took out a pencil and wrote Joel on the bench that we were sitting on in big letters. And then the principal came and saw it, and Joel got in trouble. Go ahead.
So a few months later, I was also bored, but not alone, and I did the same thing. I wrote Keith sucks on like the expo marker thing. And my coworker Alyssa was like, "Oh wait, did you hear about that?" And I was like, "Hear about what?" She's like, "Whoever was writing Keith sucks on stuff." And I was like, I started cracking up. She was like, "What?" I was like, "That was me. I was doing that." And she was telling me about like this person was so upset, and this person like thought it was this person, and like this real jerk Janine was like real mad that someone was writing Keith sucks on stuff. Like mad about vandalization, basically. We had the same. She was not my boss. We had the same job title.
Okay.
Also, I had more experience at cafe stuff than she did. She was very mean to me all the time.
Sure.
So, I of course kept writing Keith sucks on stuff, and Janine saw it and got re-mad. And then Alyssa explained, no one's making fun of Keith. Keith wrote that. And she was
I'm sure she was fine.
She was
with that.
not fine with that. She was like, "He still can't do that." So I was told that it was still really bothering me. Bothering her that I was writing Keith sucks on stuff. So I wrote it on the mop handle of the mop that we used to clean the store. And she told the management, and they were like, "Keith, don't write stuff on stuff." And I was like, okay, fine.
Hey, adult, don't write stuff on stuff.
Yeah.
Stop vandalizing the place you work at, adult.
It was all erasable ink. These are all expo markers. When the assistant manager told me, "Keith, don't do this," did you write this thing on the mop handle? I was like, yeah. She was like, "Don't do that." And I was like, okay. And so I took a sponge and I wiped it off, and she was there. I was like, okay, it's gone. I won't do it again. And they were like, okay, cool. And then like 3 weeks later, the district manager came in and was like I got called to the office, and they were like, "Keith, we heard about the thing." And I was like, "Yep, okay." And they were like, "This is a zero tolerance policy. You're fired." And I was like, "What?
Wow.
What?" It had like weeks had gone by. It was like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's definitely the 2 times that... Have I only been fired 2 times? That seems...
No, you've been fired more than 2.
It seems impossible that I've only been fired 2 times.
Let's go. Let's go down the list. Let's go Staples.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I guess I was fired from Staples.
Market Basket?
Technically, it was a seasonal position, so, like, on the books I wasn't fired. They just ended my seasonal position.
Mm-hmm.
Market Basket I was not fired from.
Okay. You weren't fired from GameStop. There's a management change.
GameStop, the manager just stopped scheduling me any hours, and then a new manager came, And instead of just talking to that new manager and saying, hey, I'm a guy who works here, put me on the schedule, I was a dumb kid and also didn't really like working, and I had already gotten my Xbox 360, so I just didn't ever come talk to that guy, and so I just kind of de facto quit, I guess.
Sure. Best Buy doesn't count, but Best Buy nearly.
Best Buy, yeah. Best Buy was a near miss. Best Buy, they wanted to fire my douchebag supervisor wanted to fire me after my probationary 90-day period. But the store manager decided to keep me on for another 90 days. They said that they would bump me down to a seasonal position, which would mean that for another 90 days, they could fire me at any time for no reason. So at that point, I immediately started looking for another job, found another job, and then as I was like going to... Or I think this is completely unrelated, but there was something that happened like the day before my last day at Best Buy where I saw my name on a list of employees and it said like position and it didn't say seasonal, it just said part-time. So I was like, oh, those dumb idiots completely forgot to downgrade my position, so I couldn't have been fired for no reason anyway. But...
Okay. So then it sounds like Staples and...
Staples doesn't count.
The airport and where's the other place?
Data intensity.
Oh, right, data intensity. How did I forget about that?
Yeah. No, like the airport and data intensity. Those were the two times where I have come to know that in like a corporate environment or any kind of like office position, like that kind of thing. Where like employees aren't necessarily like a dime a dozen, like a Starbucks or whatever the hell. The shittiest, most like humiliating part about being fired is that it's not just like, hey, you did this thing, you're fired. It's like they decide that they want to fire you, and then they let you keep working there for like 2 more months while they try to find someone to replace you. And the moment you do, you're fired, even though like you're getting fired basically for stuff that happened 2 to 3 months ago.
Yeah, that sounds like it sucks.
It totally sucks.
The reason I was trying to figure out where else you had been fired from was because I remember when you got fired from data intensity, my thought was, doesn't Kyle get fired a lot? But I guess not.
I mean, not. I think a lot of people would consider getting fired 2 to 2.5 times a lot of times.
Can we count Best Buy as a half and Staples as a half?
Nope.
No? You won't allow it?
Especially because as I was leaving, my douchebag supervisor, who is literally the worst person I've ever worked for, admitted that I was improving. So I'm going to go with no, that one doesn't count.
Okay.
Even though everyone that I worked with, like I'm not making this up. Like everyone that I work with agreed that I was not at all like a bad employee, and just that my supervisor was a lunatic.
No, I don't think you're a bad employee.
I'm not always a bad employee.
I mean, No, I mean, as long as you've been working with me, which has been like, what, 6 years now? You've been totally fine.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I've always showed up on time.
Mm-hmm.
I've always followed company policy, which is make jokes, play video games. Got that one down pretty...
always be party.
Yeah. ABP, obviously. No, this airport thing, it was... Man, it's like...
It also works for your night shift as a security guard for All Points Bulletin. Or all...
That's APB.
Points Bulletin.
All bulletin points.
Mm-hmm.
No, this airport thing, it's like... I'm not gonna... Like, both of these times that I was fired, I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't have any issues. Like, I was just like a complete model employee. But I definitely feel like...
Bayonetta on the Wii U.
I definitely feel like there's some total bullshit on the management side. Like, these guys were assholes. But I guess everyone feels like that when they're fired.
Yeah, I kind of... here's the best thing. I work across the street from Barnes & Noble. And so I'm in there, like, all the time. And it's funny because there's a lot of managers at Barnes & Noble, and some of them are always super excited to see me, and some of them are like really uncomfortable that I keep coming into the store. Like imagine, and it was immediate too. It was like after maybe 2 or 3 weeks being in Barnes & Noble pretty frequently. Could you imagine like 2 weeks from now just going into the airport and kind of hanging out?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the office that I worked in is it's like a complete private area. Like there would be no possible way that I could just show up.
Well, then how about Best Buy? I don't know. It's very fun. I just kind of go in there and I hang out and I talk with people, and they're like, some of them don't know what to do with me. One time, you should
just start casually asking them if they need help. Like, hey, you want someone to?
No, I was talking to my friend Brian, who works at the counter of at the Starbucks in there. And
wait.
Says the store.
Keith, this is not a Starbucks.
It's a Barnes & Noble
cafe that serves Starbucks coffee.
Starbucks. So I was in the Barnes & Noble at the Barnes & Noble cafe that serves
Starbucks coffee, and my assistant manager was like, Keith, if you're going to be in here all the time, you can talk to Brian as much as you want. Just straighten out some of these mugs. And I did. That's funny.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've talked about this a couple times on like Complex Rockets and stuff, but when I worked at GameStop, it was like that job was so in demand and they were so overstaffed, it was like impossible to get hired there. I basically had to intern for GameStop, which meant that like I hung out there constantly and occasionally helped them like hand out flyers and or vacuum the floors and stuff.
That didn't annoy them?
I think some people were very annoyed.
That would super annoy me.
Why?
I mean, I guess if you were fun. Were you fun?
I was.
Were you funny? Were you goofing around with them?
Yes.
And stuff?
But also, like, I was, like, 16 or whatever, so I did not know how to always control that goof a lot. Okay. So sometimes I took the goof too far and was really obnoxious.
It's hard because, Kyle, you're funnier and more interesting than a lot of people. So I hear what you're saying, and I'm like, okay, well, you're Kyle, so I know it was probably mostly fine.
That's all I've ever wanted you to admit.
Right. And I have, reluctantly. Yeah. But, no, that's not true. Reluctantly, Kyle. You deserve it. It was reluctant.
You.
No problem. But I know that GameStop is just a place where people will stand around and hang out and chat. Yeah. And that is 9 times out of 10 a horrendous experience for me. It is like really, really like it's like because it's not part of my but it is part of my job to keep talking to them. Yeah.
Well, the thing was that one of the people that was working at the GameStop was former best friend Taylor Johnson. So
Taylor Johnson of Stole Your System fame?
It's Taylor Johnson of
Push Me Down a Ladder fame?
He pushed you down. That was Mike and Hannum.
I listen, I don't have... It's hard for me to remember your friends from when you were 15.
You never interacted with Taylor Johnson even once, I would say. Okay. No, Taylor Johnson didn't steal my system. I just left a system at his house, and then he allowed it to be lost like an idiot.
I'd call that stealing.
It's certainly
stealing without
it's
malice.
Negligence. But here's the thing: he got my NES, but I got his copy of Ocarina of Time Master Quest for the GameCube. That ended up being almost like a
pretty
equal
good trade.
Value.
Okay.
But yeah, so I kind of had it at an in because I would just hang out and talk to him. And then I kind of became friends with other people that worked there. It wasn't like I was just like, "Hey guys, I like buying video games, but how about I just chat with you?"
Yeah, there's like this moment. There are these people. They'll do their transaction, and then in the part where I'm expecting them to leave, they kind of just like stand there with their bag, and they're like, "So," and I'm like, "Well, here we go. What's up?" Elder Scrolls Online, huh? And I'm like, yep, that's the title of a thing. What do you need from me? It's fine. It's fine. It's never a real problem. It's not an actual problem. I'm good at that now.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate it more than anything. It makes my skin crawl and it gives me, mild anxiety attacks, but I can handle it well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
And that's why I always get job interviews.
I think my move would probably be... the moment it even seems like they're hanging around at the counter too long, even if it's just like they're gathering up all their things and they're taking too long to do it, I would just start shuffling away as though I suddenly remembered something that needed to be done elsewhere.
Yeah, they'll stand there till you come back. I don't mind. They'll wait. Hi, I'm Bradley, and I'll wait until you're done.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The thing that these guys need to learn is that
we don't have any amiibos you want.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Can I tell you this about stereotyping customers?
Go ahead.
On the day that Rory McIlroy's PGA Tour came out, I was playing a game with my coworkers called "Is This Guy Here for PGA Tour?" I swear to God, I saw like 2 people with khaki shorts, like pink button-up T-shirts, and a visor. Like 2 people with that exact costume. Yeah, and everyone else having just like similarly golfy shit going on. Yeah, it was a blast.
Tiger Woods officially out.
There was this one kid, I just wanted to yell, "You're 15! Who taught you that you could dress like this?"
Oh, Keith, there's a whole other world out there. That's
yeah.
I mean, we kind of all know that, but I got a little bit of a glimpse into that world working at this airline that caters specifically to Nantucket. And, there's just...
Do you know about the secret Nantucket?
The secret Nantucket?
Hold on, I have to Google this up.
I mean, like the Nantucket where, like, where people still own slaves?
No. I can't remember the name of it, and it's hard to Google because it kind of is a weird. There's this island off the coast of Nantucket.
The Nantucket of Nantucket?
The Nantucket of Nantucket.
Oh, God.
And it's like a giant timeshare island owned by 10 different families of rich hippies.
Okay. That's weird.
And I was told about it in like this way where like you're kind of not allowed to own it or know about it, and the people that work there can't talk about it, and it's like this weird maybe secret thing. Like I can't really figure it out. It's really weird, right?
That's really weird. Yeah, Nantucket is such a weird place. It's so weird.
It's very weird.
Oh, man.
Oh my God. So apparently there's a list. I'm on the islands of Massachusetts. First of all, there is a gigantic list of islands off the coast of Massachusetts. And in populated, I'm going to just go down the list and you tell me when you are curious. Abbott Rock, uninhabited. Abelist Ledge, uninhabited.
Wait. Curious about what?
Curious about anything. So tell me when the first thing strikes you.
Okay.
Abbott Rock, uninhabited. Abelist Ledge, uninhabited. Abincontis Island, uninhabited. Alden Island, inhabited?
We've flown over a couple times, and sometimes we see ants scurrying around on the surface, but we don't know if it's deer or if it's humans.
It says, and it's got its own Wikipedia page. It says Alden Island is a very small island within the Duck Hills marshland in Duxbury. A small unpaved road connects the island to the mainland to Harmony Hill Road. So it's just like this weird island in a lake that maybe has people on it and no one knows.
That's weird. Yeah, like, oh man, it's so weird because it's learning like, because working at this airline, I learn all the places that rich people fly to. Mm-hmm. Like, have you heard of White Plains, New York, Keith?
No.
That's just like a place. It's just where the airport is in Westchester, New York. So it's like all these rich people are like constantly just flying back and forth between like Westchester County, New York, and Nantucket. And then there's also like occasionally Providence and maybe sometimes New Bedford.
Okay, I know New Bedford.
It's just weird. I don't like what's weirder to me is thinking about like because whatever, if you're rich, you got this money, you're flying around to places where rich people live and you're buying your fancy houses and whatever. But the weird thing to me is like the kids that grow up on Nantucket, like in that world. Like
you're saying townies.
Right. We got at the airline that I worked at, we got a free copy of Nantucketopoly, which is not licensed by. I've come to learn that for somehow you can get away with making a Monopoly ripoff that's like the title is something-opoly. Like somehow that skirts the trademark that Hasbro has on Monopoly.
Coffeeopoly, the coffee monopoly.
Yeah. And it's just all this stuff about Nantucket, and they go, we got a free copy because the island, there's like a chance card that's related to the airline because they fly back and forth from the mainland to Nantucket. And like it says on the back, like it's like, oh, this game was made by two kids. It's like a brother and a sister that are like smiling on the back, and it's like all profits go to the Nantucket Cottage Hospital. Like, what? Why are like? It's like that's how far gone you are. It's like you just think Nantucket is the world. Or you're like, you don't need any money because you live on Nantucket. You're obviously rich. So yes, great idea. Take all the profits for this like weird vanity Nantucket game. And
hold on, do we know that the people living on Nantucket are rich? Because it could be a place where like rich people vacation, but it's not actually a nice place to live there.
No, you know what? You're right. I can't claim to be a scholar on all things Nantucket, but I'm pretty sure that there is because it's such a small place to begin with.
There's an island off the coast of Massachusetts called Misery Island.
Great, perfect.
Oh, sorry. There's several Misery Islands, and the biggest one is called Great Misery Island.
No, Keith, that's Missouri. You're reading about Missouri right now.
God damn it! All right, I figured it out. This is it. Wait, no, this might not be it. Never mind. Keep going. Yeah. You keep going.
Well, all I was saying was like, yeah, great. You have a fantastic idea. Take the profits from this game and donate it to a charity. But like, you're donating it to the hospital on Nantucket, like. It can't need any more money. And if it did, it probably has a rich friend that could just give it some. Like, how about you donate money to a hospital that actually needs your money?
There's especially when like all of the great hospitals to give money to are already in Massachusetts.
Right.
Like Boston Children's Hospital.
Yeah,
that's a hospital that has a lot of money, but also takes care of like the world's sickest children because it's a great hospital.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving money to that hospital. I have to admit, when I first got the job, I didn't really know a lot about Nantucket, so I don't think I knew that it was mostly a weird place for rich people. And so I heard two people that I worked with relaying the story that they had got contacted from somebody who was trying to set up this sort of like charity for flying food over to the kids of Nantucket because the kids on Nantucket are malnourished because they don't have access to all the great bounties of the mainland. And then like the person saying this just gave like the biggest, most emphatic eye roll of all time. And at the time I was kind of like, I don't know, what's wrong with that? And now I realize like, oh, it's because you're living on Nantucket. Like, airship your own food.
Right. They're in a food desert because they're too rich to want to live in the city.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Nantucket is a weird place. Martha's Vineyard. Is Martha's Vineyard the same?
It's
Vineyard
yes.
sounds richy.
I mean, the Vineyard, isn't that where all the Kennedys live or whatever? Isn't that their whole thing? I don't know anything about the Kennedys. I know the president vacations there. And so, yes, it is the same.
Yes, okay.
I don't know all the elaborate details, the rich textured nuances of
the tapestries. You don't know the tapestries?
The tapestry of rich people living on Massachusetts islands.
No, I couldn't find any more information on the secret thing that I heard about from a stoner.
Great.
It was. I mean, it seemed.
I'm telling you,
pretty
man,
legit.
it's like the president of Whole Foods. They don't want it. You know what? They don't want anyone to know where it is because that's where they're growing all the pot.
Non-GMO pot.
You know, they can't let anyone know about it because even the pot growers will kill them. Once the public knows that you can grow non-GMO pot, no one's gonna want to go back, and that's dangerous for them.
Word is that underneath the pot, there's scientists working on a shot that can protect you against vaccines.
Oh.
That's a fun premise, huh? A vaccine? Kyle, have you been playing any games in your,
Oh, man, Keith.
Unemployment?
You're going to be really impressed with this.
Okay. Did you find another way to buy Dark Souls 2?
Oh, if only, Keith, if only. Really, they just need to offer it to me and I'll snatch it right up. No, for the past, month, it must be a month at this point, I've seriously been playing nothing but Doom games. Just Doom. All I want to play is Doom. It's all I think about all day long. It's just playing different versions of Doom. The farthest away I've gotten from Doom, because Doom and Doom
is
2,
Doom 3?
Yeah, Doom and Doom 2 and Final Doom and all these Doom things, they're all just the same game. And then also I played Doom 3, which is a totally different game, but it's also still a Doom game.
How do you like Doom 3?
Oh, their heart was in the right place.
Have you tried Rage yet?
No.
Why don't you try Rage out?
I'm liking Doom 3 more this time. I think the first time I tried to play it, I was disappointed because it's not a super great game. And I think this time my expectations were properly adjusted, so I knew what to expect.
Okay. Rage is okay. There's nothing wrong with Rage. It really could have been great, and then it wasn't.
It wasn't great, you're saying.
When you're playing, when I play Rage, I go ooh, if only more of this and less of this.
Oh, wait, Keith, I'm sorry. There is one other game I've been playing.
Okay.
Quake.
Oh, well, see, there's a new and interesting thing. I like Quake, and I don't like Doom.
Really? Because Quake is not doing a lot for me.
I like Quake a lot. I don't like Doom. I don't like the colors in Doom.
What?
Yeah, I don't like any of the art in Doom.
Oh man, I love it. I think there's something I don't think there's any game where killing enemies is more satisfying than Doom. The death animations for those things are just the best.
I really like the gun animations in Doom.
Yep, those are also great.
That's basically it.
That's
basically it. I'm looking at pictures of Doom and I'm just I don't like this. That's why I like Chex Quest so much, because it's the same thing, but the colors are better.
Here's the thing, though. If you actually play Chex Quest, you'll realize, oh, this is a fun idea, but it's actually not that much fun to play.
It's also very short, so I never have to play it for very long.
It's not. It's short, but also, there's... because Doom... Chex Quest is just one episode. It's a 9-level thing. Whereas, Doom was 3 and then 4 episodes long. But Chex Quest 2 was another episode, and Chex 3 was a third episode, so now there is like a full-length Chex Quest game you can play. I've only played the first and second levels of Chex Quest 2. It seemed like it was a lot better. So I will say that much.
Yeah, I just saw a super obnoxious nostalgia thing.
What?
Looking at Dune screenshots, it's like a Doom thing, and then it says, "If you remember this, your childhood was awesome." And that's very annoying.
I mean, listen, you're right. That's the worst, but also they're not wrong.
They're kind of wrong. I don't think that anybody should be boiling down other people's whole childhoods based on a screenshot.
Should they, though?
Yeah.
Cacodads, Keith.
Cacodads?
Yeah, cacodads suck.
I don't know what a cacodad is, but I don't like any kind of dad, no offense.
Yeah, you know what? If you want to hear more about my feelings on cacodads, you should check out my website, fuckcacodads.com.
I Google image search cacodad, and I must have spelled it wrong because I'm not seeing anything.
It's CACODAD. It's also...
And it's CAKO.
It's also known... Cakodad is not its true name. Its actual name is something else. It's
Caladad?
Its actual name is Pain Elemental.
Oh, okay. I've seen these things.
You know what?
Oh, hey, here, look, here's a sprite that's a fun.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think people call them cacodads because they look like another enemy in Doom called the Caco Demon, except the cacodad spits out smaller enemies that fly around and hurt you, so they're like a dad.
Oh, that's
They're
cute.
more like a Caco mom if you think about it, but...
Mm-hmm. Or, unless they're somehow related to the seahorse.
Yeah, you know what? They're probably just holding them all in there.
I think they're just holding them all in there, holding them tight and close. Yeah. This Doom 3 Pain Elemental looks like a real...
That makes sense.
Real jerk.
Yeah. You know, this... I guess, if I think about it, this started because after we did our podcast that was all about the E3 stuff, and then I decided I wanted to go back and try to watch all the E3 press conferences.
How did that
think
go?
I only made it through the Bethesda one and the Xbox one. I was really pleased with my decision to do that because I had a lot of fun watching them. I just didn't really make it to the other ones, but I liked the Doom 4 footage.
You watched the only one that was not hard to watch, so...
Yeah, that's probably. Well, I thought the PlayStation one people were saying good things about.
PlayStation 1 was fine. PlayStation 1 was not hard to watch. It was just weird because it was the way that friend of the show, Art Temple, described it was just a succession of different video game myths.
Yeah, well, I mean, that sounds great, though.
That...
Like, when you bust out Shenmue 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake and... Last Guardian all in one show. It's like that's all you need to do. You just drop the mic and walk out. It's like 3 trailers were done, 15 minutes in and out.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. It was 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ubisoft was a nightmare. Ubisoft was just you should watch the Ubisoft one just because of how hard it was to watch. Worse than ever.
Wow. That's fun. Yeah. I liked the Doom 4 footage they showed. It seemed like Doom 4 is some kind of strange amalgamation of like original Doom and Doom 3. I kind of don't really like how most of the enemies look like they do in Doom 3 because I think the enemies in Doom 3 look cool and scary, but they don't look anything like the original monster designs, and I would like if they did.
I'm seeing some comparisons in these screenshots I've been looking at, and I disagree. I'm looking at
Can you link me?
Yeah, I can link you. Here's maybe this is a Revenant? I don't think so. I don't know what this is. You can tell me what this is.
Revenants are weird. Revenants are really weird.
No, this isn't a Revenant. It's a different thing.
That's crap. I don't know what those are called.
It's like a skeleton kit.
Yeah, they're called skull kits. I think actually. Yeah.
Are they called skull kits?
I think this though is one of the most faithful monster designs. Like if you look up like the Pinky Demon, I don't know any of the real names for them. I know like their weird nicknames. Pinky Demons. You look up.
These look like water bears. Right?
What?
Water
What's
bears?
What's a water bear?
It's like a little bug thing that lives in the water. They're very small and they can live anywhere.
I don't know about that.
Here's a water bear. Oh, that's not how you look at anything. There.
Like like Pinky Demons in the original Doom looked kind of dumb. And in Doom 3, I admit they looked really cool, but I just look at it and it doesn't look like a thing. They don't look like the thing that it is. That's all I want, Keith. I just want it to look a little bit like the thing.
You're right. It doesn't look like the thing. But the Doom 3 thing looks better. It's a better looking thing.
Yeah, but Doom 3 is stupid.
Maybe you're
like,
stupid.
Doom is like one of the greatest games of all time. So
says you.
If they're trying to, says a lot of people, Keith. It's not just me.
I know a lot of people say a lot of stupid shit. It's not bad. It's just like, get over it.
It's so Keith, I played it for a month straight and I'm still playing it.
Yeah, you do a lot of stupid things.
You're stupid.
You're stupid. Shut up. You know what? I'm looking at some sprite comparisons versus some action figures of the Pinky Demon in Doom 3, and I'm starting to disagree with you more and more that they don't look similar. Here's some custom Doom 3 Pinky Demon action figure action.
Okay.
And here's a GIF set, or not a GIF set, a sprite rotation of I don't know, like Doom 1, I think.
No, that's not. That's like those sprites that you put in there are like someone's depiction of like what a Doom 3 Pinky Demon would look like in Doom 1.
Oh, okay. Well, then I take it back.
If you search pink,
they're definitely bipedal in 1 and 2.
Yeah. It's like a bipedal pink bull thing. Bipedal.
Bull pedal.
Mm-hmm. But that's.
And is there anything else? Anything else going on for you, Kyle?
No. I spent like a weird. I usually try to shy away from game mods of any kind because I just think it's like a big waste of time because I spend so much time trying to set everything up the way I want it and then I don't play the game. But I actually did take time to install a bunch of mods in Doom 3 so that it looks all new and fancy, kind of like Doom 3 BFG edition, but without their dumb gameplay changes that they made.
Okay.
You know about any of this?
Yeah, I know that in BFG they let you use your flashlight and your gun at the same time.
That's some bullshit.
Frankly, that makes sense. I haven't played either game, but it does make more sense to be able to hold two things in two hands.
Well, you need two hands for one gun. Have you ever shot a gun? Because it's like a two-handed operation.
Only some guns, and also I'm not a video game hero.
That's true. You're not wrong about that. But
although I also haven't shot any guns.
Really, the problem I had with the BFG edition was more that in the original Doom 3, your gun would give off like this muzzle flash, and because that game is like pitch black like all the time, it looks super cool. You're like shooting things, and the whole environment is lighting up. But for whatever reason, the concessions that they made in BFG edition made them have to remove that element from the game. So when you shoot things,
I remember this. Like, yes, that sounds like a bad move.
It kind of feels weird and empty. So I'm going original gameplay, but with some spruced up nice things. It's got some motion blur, some like lens flares and other cool stuff. It looks real nice.
Cool. Awesome.
HD texture packs.
Nice.
And I'm enjoying that. It's not, like I think that the contemporary for Doom 3 is Half-Life 2, like they came out at the same time. And like, man, Half-Life 2 is so much better in so many ways than that game, but Doom 3's all right. Doom 3.
I'm glad that you've come out on the positive for Doom 3.
Keith, Doom 3
not
is
for any
fine.
reason. I've never played it. I've never played it, but I'm glad that you like it and that you're enjoying your time with it. I wish that you'd been playing something interesting.
Oh man, you want to know about something interesting I've been playing?
Yeah.
How about Doom? Like Final. Like I've been playing a lot of TNT Evolution. That's one part of Final Doom. It was like a Doom 2 expansion, but not made by id. It was made by Team TNT, but it was released commercially. It's like a fun game.
Not interested?
All right, I know that one wasn't interesting, but how about this one? Also been playing more of the Xbox Live arcade versions of Doom 1 and 2 to try to get some more achievements.
Ugh, no, that's even worse. No.
Well, hey, I know that's lame, but how about this?
What's up? Oh, I can feel it now.
Played a little bit more Chex Quest.
Chex Quest, into it, interested.
Tried to get in there. Really boring, though, actually. Pretty boring.
Yeah, I usually just go in and out. I don't play Chex Quest. That's mainly my jam on how I still like Chex Quest.
Remember Brutal Doom I showed you?
Yes.
How it it adds all these things. There's all crazy bullet effects, and
you can look
up and down, and it's all like gory and blood sprays everywhere and stuff.
Was it hard to adjust to being able to look up and down in a video game like that?
Oh, I could. You know what? I don't even know how this happened. I think I was Googling something about Quake, and I stumbled upon a forum thread from 1999 of Quake 3 beta testers arguing about different ways to control first-person shooters. Like, because I guess, like, they put out, like, a nearly final beta build of Quake 3 that forced you to do, like, mouse-free look the way every first-person shooter has since Quake 3. And there were just so many people mad about it. There were, like, people swearing up and down, like, they're still playing Quake 3 with a keyboard, and they're like, come on, just play me. I'll fucking smoke you with my keyboard. And then people going, like, you're clearly out of your mind. Like, nobody with a keyboard could smoke anyone using mouse look.
Yeah, that's totally true. You can't even control the speed at which you move with a keyboard.
It's weird. There is also, so it's in this thread, there are people arguing for, or not, whatever. There's people discussing 4 different control schemes. All keyboard.
Okay.
Your typical keyboard mouse free look. Then Doom through Quake 2 had this mode where you could look with the mouse, but also moving the mouse backwards would make you walk backwards, and moving the mouse forwards would make you move forward, so you could completely control the whole game with the mouse.
No.
And then there was this weird thing where it was like keyboard and mouse, but the mouse would only look left and right, and you couldn't look up and down unless you held down a special mouse look key, and then you could look up and down, and then if you let the key go, it would snap back to like horizontal plane. And that was called like mouse look plus look spring, and that was the main thing this guy was mad about, was that was not in the game. It was a weird time, Keith.
It was. I think that was probably the height of horrible internet pedantry.
Oh no, Keith, come on, we just have new things to pedant about.
No, you don't think that someone's more likely to be like super horrible about shit then than now? I think people are slightly better.
Yeah, okay, I think you are right.
Because there was no pushback then. There was no pushback at all against it.
That's true. I think also just the video game audience was so much more narrow back then. Such a higher percentage of the video game audience were the people that would get really, really upset that Quake 3 doesn't have look spring, and I've been playing Quake with look spring for 5 years, and how fucking dare you remove the look spring option?
Wow, Kyle, you sounded really passionate.
It was that classic thing of. It was that classic thing of, how about instead of it removing options, you give more options? How about you add options? Stop trying to... Listen. Just because free look... I can't even believe we're having this argument again. Just because free look works for you doesn't mean it works for everybody. Some people play better with look spring, Keith. It's just a fact.
Listen, Kyle. I'm all for having concessions made when people want to play a game a certain way, but also I think the attitude that more is always more takes away from the importance of what the artist is trying to say with their work. Kyle.
Yeah. Well, I think what they were trying to say with Quake 3 was they were sort of echoing the sentiment of one of the posters in the thread, which was like, listen, man, just take a week to get used to mouse free look, and then you'll see that it's definitely the way to play games.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Apparently, Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament did that, and then everyone saw that was the way, and then it was never a discussion ever since.
Do you think
then.
this guy's still, like, out there being like, God, I fucking... He's out there making look spring mods for every first-person shooter that he wants to play?
Well, I think... I definitely know that they're like, you ever run into those people that are like, oh man, I fucking love the NES. I played the shit out of every NES game, but then there just got to be too many buttons. Like once it was more than 2 buttons, I was fucking out of there.
No, I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
No,
That's such
I've
a common
never heard
sentiment.
that.
I might be overplaying how much that person was into NES, but there are so many people that are like, I fucking love the NES, Super Mario Brothers, Zelda, it was awesome, and then, man, games now just have too many buttons, bro, I can't even hang. Like, I bet there are some people that are like, I fucking loved Doom, I could kinda do Quake, but as soon as they demanded that I deal with the Z-axis, I was out. Well, no, because there's X and Y are like the plane that you're moving on.
But there's no third dimension. The Z-axis is moving forward and backwards with the key with WASD.
You're right. It's just an X and Y. What's the Z then?
Z is forward and backward on your WASD. That's the Z-axis.
Well, I'm thinking of that as let's call that X.
No, that's not.
And then the looking left and right is Y.
No, that's...
And then I think looking up and down is Z.
No, that's wrong. That's all wrong.
Well, no, the moving around and the horizontal looking both incorporate the X and Y axis, and then the Z axis is looking up and down.
I mean, so the problem here is that we're thinking of this as if looking up and down and looking left and right are straight lines, when actually they're curved lines, and a look left and right doesn't have anything to do with the X or the Y axis. That would be strafing left and right, and floating up and down. As soon as you introduce turning, that is a circular motion, and so you're moving across 2 different axes. Is really what's happening.
I think what's really happening is I stopped listening to you.
Okay.
I think that's really what's happening.
Yeah. That's fine.
So anyways, Doom is like one of the greatest games of all time for
yep,
sure.
And we both agree.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really surprised by how obsessed I've become with it, because it's not like I've played Doom for like dozens of hours before, so the fact that I could become obsessed with it enough for it to be practically the only game I want to play for an entire month is crazy for me.
You went through a Doom period a couple years ago.
Yeah, things come in waves.
Yeah. Where do you think you're headed next? What other boring
all
fucking
we are
thing
is dust in the wind, Keith.
So
far, I don't have a next destination, other than people are saying that they're excited about this Rocket League thing.
Oh yeah, we got to play Rocket League together. We got to do like a Run Button versus Rocket League.
I'll think about it.
I haven't really been playing anything. I've been talking a lot about games, so I haven't been playing them very much.
Are you experiencing any of the thing where you're working at GameStop and so much of your life is about video games that you're like sick of video games? I mean,
I get that sometimes just from. I get that just because that's what we do. Sometimes.
Yeah.
The thing that makes it different at GameStop is because there's a desperation to it, like trying to save people from making bad decisions, or feeling bad about not saving people from buying Sonic free riders.
Oh, come on. That's not a... So, have you ever read Pet Sematary, Keith?
Yes.
You know, it
was in 6th grade, so it's been a while.
Book about there's a pet cemetery in the woods, but along a path far behind the pet cemetery is an Indian burial ground, and if you bury something there, it'll come back to life, but kind of be all fucked up and evil.
Mm-hmm.
So
like how American Indians are.
What?
You know, like how American Indians do. We killed them all, and they came back all fucked up and evil.
Yep. And it's obviously a thing you would never want, because anything or anybody you try to bring back to life through that method, it's going to be all fucked up and evil. That's not anything anyone wants. But the whole thing is that the cemetery has like its own evil will that sort of, coerces people to spread the knowledge of this place almost against their will, such that it compels people to continue trying to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like whatever we were talking before I brought up this Pet Cemetery thing.
What were we talking about?
I don't even remember.
Doom?
No.
Rocket
GameStop.
League? GameStop. So you're saying that GameStop is a pet cemetery?
No.
Okay. Sonic Free Riders is a pet cemetery?
Yeah, Sonic Free Riders is a pet cemetery where like people are like, I'm going to buy Sonic Free Riders, and you should say, no, don't, it's the worst ever. But like the primordial evil of Sonic Free Riders makes you be like, no, yeah, that's a good idea. You should do that.
I mean, I didn't say they should. I just didn't interrupt their conversation to go like, one game over is Sonic and also really transformed.
Yeah.
Get that one.
Oh, like, we talked about this. There was some, like, because I didn't have a lot of money during large parts of the Sonic Let's Play that we did.
Yeah.
So a lot of the side games, I would get them by just buying them from GameStop used and then just returning them the next day.
Yeah.
And there was one game, I think it was Sonic and the Secret Rings or Sonic and the Black Knight. I can't remember, but it was one game where I walked into a GameStop and I walked up to the counter, and the woman at the counter was like, I'm looking for this game my son wants, Sonic and the Secret Rings, and the GameStop employee was like, oh, sorry, our computer system says we don't have it. And I was like, well, actually, I'm returning it right now. And then there was this weird thing where she was kind of like, the mom was sort of like, oh, that's good. Well, why are you returning it? And I had to like make the decision if I am gonna, because it's a weird thing when a mom is buying a game, because it's like their kid wants it, so you can't really convince the mom to not get what their kid wants.
Yeah.
Because that's what their kid wants.
Right.
So I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. Maybe a kid would like it. I didn't.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell any kid their game is stupid.
I'll tell a kid that a game is not good. You won't tell it to
the mom.
Yeah, like I don't want to. It's a dangerous game to get into, convincing parents that the game they came to buy because their child asked for it is not what they should get.
Yeah,
because then you get into a situation where it's like,
that.
Mom, did you get me Sonic and the Black Knight like I asked? Like, well, son, the nice boy at GameStop told me that game was garbage, so instead I got you.
I've never done that.
Rage.
I will. All I'll do is suggest other games to kids besides, I don't know, Imagine Babysitter.
You won't recommend Imagine Babysitter?
No, nor Imagine Teacher.
Is that a game?
Yeah, there's a whole Imagine series. Imagine Pets, Imagine Babies, Imagine Babysitter, Imagine Teacher.
Keith, I know all about the Imagine series.
Yeah, Imagine Z.
Is it? It's with a Z, right?
It is with a Z, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Tip off number 1.
Imagines Babies.
Imagines Babies. Imagines Babysitters. Imagines Ballet Dancer. Imagines Teacher. It's, shitty games targeted at girls because people that make games are shitty and don't know how to actually make navigate people who want to play more than just games that are, hey, maybe you should be a ballet dancer, and it's really all you do is
they must sell a little bit, or else they wouldn't keep there wouldn't be 1,800 Imagines games if people weren't buying them.
It's why GameStop carries 3 years worth of Farming Simulator, because it doesn't sell, but it also doesn't cost anything to make.
Okay.
Like it sells enough to make money. That's why they keep making them.
Sure.
Because it, basically is it's as close to a zero cost game as you can make for the 360.
Farming Sim?
Yeah.
I don't know. Farming Sim is really popular in certain parts of the world. I bet they put a lot of money into it. Or at least a lot of effort. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Like apparently at like Gamescom, the Farming Simulator booth is actually like a really big deal.
You know what? Maybe the farming sim that I'm thinking of is not the farming sim that is the one that I see at GameStop. Maybe that's a different thing.
It's just called Farming Simulator.
Yeah. I think maybe there's another farming simulator that is really, really bad.
I suppose there could be.
Weird sims are big right now, especially in, Central and Eastern Europe.
Nicole went to a public library, a nearby public library that has a small selection of kids' games.
Yeah?
And
How small? I need answers, Churchill.
I'll say this. They have knack, so it's as big as it needs to be. Just cut it off here, because you've already got everything you need. She got this Wii U game called Funky Barn for Lucas to play. Trying to get him
That's
to like...
Marky Mark's barn.
Yep. Marky Mark and the Funky Barn. It's actually... The Marky Mark part is in small print on the box.
Mm-hmm.
Because that... that name doesn't carry the same weight it used to.
No.
Lucas ended up not caring about that game at all, and I already knew that game wasn't great because of like Giant Bomb. But okay. Nicole got like way into it and spent like she played it for like 4 hours straight and just beat it in one sitting. It was like some weird like farming sim kind of thing. But like farming sim where like you pick up the things and you sell them by dropping them into a funnel attached to a cannon, and then the cannon blasts them out of the farm, and then you get money for it.
That's fun. That sounds almost Viva Pinata like.
Yeah, that actually was the thing. I was like, I bet you would like Viva Pinata because it's kind of similar,
but not as good.
No, Viva Pinata is not as good as Funky Barn.
Yeah, not nearly.
No. Not game related, but I've gotten back into Stephen King recently. I'm on my third Stephen King book in a row now, Keith.
Oh yeah?
I read The Wind Through the Keyhole.
Okay.
That was okay. That was the thing about The Wind Through the Keyhole is it's like a double fake out, because it starts and it's like about like Roland and his crew,
his old crew.
His crew, and it takes... They say it takes place between... I guess that's... The part that sticks in my craw about The Wind Through the Keyhole is it's billed as taking place between Wizard and Glass and Wolves of the Kala.
Right. Which
is technically true, but really it's like there's maybe a chapter of like Roland and his buddies palling around in Midworld.
Talking...
And then there's like a big weird storm that comes, and so they get like holed up in a cabin all night.
Mm-hmm.
And Roland's like, "Hey guys, I know I just told you a really long story from my youth, but let me tell you another story from my youth."
I like it that there's 2 weeks of time where Roland's really into storytelling, and then never again.
So then it goes into a story of Roland as a young man, but it's sometime after him as a young man in Wizard and Glass. And there's a number of chapters in this point in the story, like maybe 4 or 5. And then in that story, young Roland goes up to a boy and is like, "We're going to be stuck here all night, so let me tell you about my favorite story my mother used to tell me when I was a boy, called The Wind Through the Keyhole." And then that's like 60+% of the book all at once. And then it goes back to young Roland, and then his story gets wrapped up in a couple chapters, and then it goes back to regular Roland, and he's like, "And that's the story, let's get out of here," end of book. It's like a really weird, like, multi-layered story thing.
That does sound really weird. What was the other book that you read? That doesn't sound... I don't think I'm going to read that.
It's, you know what, I liked it. The wind through the keyhole part that's most of the book, I thought was a little bit boring at the beginning, but then the Man in Black shows up and starts doing his magical business, and that's where it gets kind of fun. The other book I read was The Shining.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
That one's real good.
I've heard, that people really like that.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I haven't seen either of the film adaptations, so I didn't have any of that because I guess haven't seen them. I guess the Stanley Kubrick film is markedly different from the book, so I saw a lot of weird online reviews that are like, I didn't like it because it was different.
Yeah, Stephen King also doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But he's wrong. It's probably great.
I'm sure it's great. I think I've heard people being like, "Oh, fucking Stephen King, he's such a dickhead, doesn't like that movie." It's like, yeah, but like...
They make sense.
You know, yeah, I'm sure Stephen King is not going to argue that it's a good movie. He's just kind of like, well, hey, I would like a faithful adaptation of my book.
Right.
Which I guess they tried to do, and I don't know how well it turned out.
Me neither. What's the next one? What'd you do?
Now I'm rereading Salem's Lot.
Oh, I like Salem's Lot too.
I read Salem's Lot one time, and I was not very impressed with it, and I didn't like it that much. But also, I can't remember a single thing about it, so I always felt like I should give it a second chance to, I don't know.
How's that going?
Maybe like Doom 3, now that I know what the book is sort of like, I'll like it a bit more.
Yeah?
It's okay, it's fine. I haven't gotten into any of the...
the Barlow stuff?
I don't remember there being a lot of action, so to speak.
No, but there's not a lot of action in a lot of Stephen King books. Yeah. I mean, he's a pretty slow burn in most of his stuff.
Yeah, I just think in Salem's Lot, I feel like especially was kind of... That's my memory. I don't remember anything about it. I just remembered it being sort of boring. You
should check out some of his newer stuff. Maybe you'll like it.
I want to...
You should check out the fucking JFK one. I like that one.
Yeah, I already... Like, when I went to cancel my Audible account like a year ago, I had like 10 credits built up, so I was like, I'll take Masters of Doom and these like 5 Stephen King books.
Oh, right, you're listening to all these.
Yeah, I am.
Maybe that's the thing. I find it harder to listen to slow burn books than to read them.
I don't.
It really slows shit down when it's being read to me, I feel like.
Yeah, but see, I'm the world's slowest reader, so like
have you tried
either
reading
way
along
it's faster.
With the audiobook? That's what I do sometimes.
No.
It's great. It's really good. It's a lot of fun.
It's weird. I feel like I'm prejudiced against that the same way that some people are about audiobooks in general. Like, for some reason, it sounds really stupid to me, and I don't know why.
I don't know, it's just like a really good comprehension experience. Like, you just get it for both ways.
Yeah. I guess the reason I like audiobooks is that...
You don't have to read something?
is it's not that I don't have to read, it's that it frees me up to do other things. So I can like play a game or drive in my car or vacuum the house or whatever.
Driving in your car I get, but I don't like I can't
I love it, Keith.
Maybe this is why you don't remember books, is because you're also playing Dark Souls.
No, I would never. Keith, I would never play Dark Souls while I listen to an audiobook.
Were you playing Dark Souls 2?
No, haven't you been listening? I've been playing Doom. Just a bunch of Doom.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Concentrate on the book. I remember last time we talked about this, I said a younger, shittier Keith would have said that's not reading.
Yeah.
But it is reading. I get that now. I'm not as much of a jerk as I was.
That's good.
I'm not a stickler for weird, dumb rules. But you should really concentrate on that shit.
Well, I do. I remember things from other books. Now I'm in this weird predicament with Stephen King books where he has like a million of them. And so I feel like anytime I read a Stephen King book, it needs to be a new one. Or like, like a one that I haven't read. Yeah. Because there's so many, it's like, I can't, how am I ever going to read these books if I don't keep reading new ones? But now it's been so long since I've read the ones that I have read that I just kind of want to go back to those ones.
Yeah, I read like one Stephen King book every couple of years. Which means that I will never catch up because he will put out one a year. Until he dies. There's
a sick, dark part of me that wants Stephen King to die, so that I have my goal is no longer moving.
Yeah, the last one that I read was 12, 17, 42, whatever fucking numbers.
It's 11, 22, 63.
Sure. That, and then before that, I hadn't read one since Duma Key, which is forever ago.
Was that one good?
I liked it.
I saw that one won like 2 awards or something. I don't know. I recently went through his bibliography on Wikipedia, and next to it said what kind of nominations and awards it got. And I don't know how much of that even means anything, and how much of it just means like, oh, he won that year because there were no other good horror novels that year, whatever. But I think Duma Key won like 2 awards.
Yeah, I liked Duma Key. I liked it. I thought it was like a solid B.
Solid B, huh?
Yeah, solid B. And I was younger when I read that.
Didn't it only come out like 2 to 3 years ago?
No, Duma Key came out in 2008.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it came out January 2008.
Yeah.
Which means I read it that year, which means that I was 16, probably. 15 or 16.
Oh, you know what I got to read now, speaking of his newer books?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've read The Shining, I have to read Dr. Sleep.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Dr. Sleep, I think like the first chapter of Dr. Sleep audiobook is at the end of the Wind Through the Keyhole audiobook, so I got to hear a little bit of it, and it sounds pretty cool.
Critical
Man, The Shining was really good. The more I think about The Shining, like as I was reading/listening to The Shining, I wasn't sure how much I liked it, but now that I'm done with it, the more I think about it, the more I really, really liked it.
I'll check it out. I have a couple books that I have to read. Maybe that'll be next in line. I bought John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats. He wrote a fiction book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and love the Mountain Goats. Love Johnny D. I've heard really, really great things about the book. I bought it 3 months ago and have not touched it. It's from what I can tell, it's like this weird thriller based around this kind of like ARG that involves people sending like actual physical letters to each other.
Keith, you're talking about alternate reality video games.
Oh, well, alternate reality games.
You're right. You know what? You're right, because it's alternate reality. There's not really video involved necessarily, which I think is actually a bad name for that genre, because I don't think it accurately conveys what it is.
It's called Wulfen the White Van is the name of the book.
They should be called like real world games or something, right?
Well, I think that the thing that is alternate is that they are happening in they're happening half in and half out of the real world and twisting it in a way as to obfuscate reality.
Yeah, well, right. Like, I think... I don't know if you're talking about the book or real ARGs.
Real ARGs. I don't know anything about...
I think what's alternate about the reality of those games is it's basically like a game that sort of seems to exist in the real world. Like, oh, you get a phone call from a guy and he's talking about a conspiracy in the world, but it's not a real conspiracy. It's just a game. So it seems like it's in the real world, but it's not the real world, so it's an alternate reality game. I guess that's the thing.
Anyway, I feel like Wolfen the is something that you would like a lot, so you should check it out. Even though I haven't read it, I've heard good things, and I know from the description of it that it's
sure. I'll check it out. I'll check it out 25 years from now when Stephen King is dead and I've finished all his books.
So you should take a 1-book break from Stephen King. It is a short read. You'll look at it after looking at Stephen King books and go like, what is this fucking? Is this like fucking Magic Treehouse? What is this?
Oh boy. Yeah, is that person dead yet? Because that's another series I have to catch up on.
I believe that person is still alive, as is Lemony Snicket.
What a name, though.
Lemony Snicket?
Yeah.
Very, very good name.
Is that... I'm
sure that those books are still good, too.
I tried to read the first one. I didn't get through it. I was not really into it.
I was enthralled.
Same thing with fucking Artemis Fowl.
That bore the shit. I could not get through Artemis Fowl at all.
Could not.
Daniel Handler is Lemony Snicket's real name.
God, no.
Not nearly as good.
I know I was just going to ask if that was Lemony Snicket was Lemony Snicket's real name.
It. Yeah.
But, because I knew it wasn't, but I wanted it to be so bad.
Apparently he has a series. I heard about this years ago, and I just never checked it out. Oh no, this might not be what I thought it was. He has like a prequel series to a series of unfortunate events that there was a point where I was like, I should check that out probably.
A series of events that are not yet unfortunate?
No, it's called All the Wrong Questions.
Huh. Whoa, hey, did you hear about Ghost Set of Watchmen?
Ghost Set of what?
Go Set a Watchman.
No, I think I saw a joke about it without knowing what it was.
Okay, so just like 3 days ago, a second Harper Lee novel was released.
Oh, okay. That's what... Now a bunch of jokes make sense to me.
Yeah. So apparently it was this manuscript that was thought to be lost but was actually found late last year, and they just released it. And the thing is that it is essentially a years later sequel to Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
But it's one that it's so it's all about, I guess, like the civil rights movement and tensions in the South about that. And the big sticking point about it is that I guess that Atticus Finch sides with the essentially white supremacists that like want to deny black people rights. Yeah. And I guess the idea is supposed to be that, Atticus is now old and crotchety and disillusioned, and also it's I guess the idea is it's supposed to get at that, like, at this time there are a lot of people in the South where it's like they will talk, this goes for like anything. It's like the same thing with like gay rights now and stuff, where like a lot of people that will talk about how they have nothing against them, but then as soon as people start talking about giving them the same rights, they're like, whoa, hang on, though. I mean, I don't have anything wrong with them, but they're not people.
The reason that I have nothing wrong with them is predicated on the fact that they're not equal to me.
Exactly. But the whole weird meta-narrative to this whole thing is that the story given by the publisher or by Harper Lee's estate or whoever the fuck is that this was a book written before To Kill a Mockingbird and was kind of like sent to publishers and no one wanted to publish it. And so then Harper Lee wrote To Kill a Mockingbird and blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. But the thing is sort of like, Well, if this was written before, how come it's essentially like a lackluster sequel to Kill a Mockingbird? Like, this doesn't really ring true that much. But then maybe it's possible that it is that, because maybe that's why, like, Atticus Finch might be sort of a different character, because then maybe they decided to totally rewrite the character. I don't know. I haven't read To Kill a Mockingbird, and also I'm not gonna...
You haven't read To Kill a Mockingbird?
I have not.
I really like it a lot.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I haven't read it.
You should read it. You should read
now,
that.
like,
You should read Wolf and the White Van.
To have a full opinion, or really to have any opinion on this, I would have to read To Kill a Mockingbird and then read Go Set a Watchman.
I'll say this. I really like the title Go Set a Watchman.
I really like the cover of it, because the cover of Go Set a Watchman is basically completely in the same sort of style as like the old To Kill a Mockingbird cover.
Yeah.
As though it was...
I'm looking at it now. There's a train. There's a nice train coming.
Yeah, it's like as though this book was published 50 years ago.
Yeah. I would like to look into the book.
I saw like a couple like reviews or whatever, and it seems like the reaction is pretty tepid at best.
Yeah, it says looks like has polarized critics and fans alike. Entertainment Weekly panned the book as a first draft of To Kill a Mockingbird. Has a few stunning passages, but it reads for the most part like a sluggishly paced first draft, replete with incongruities, bad dialogue, and underdeveloped characters. Ponderous and lurching.
Yeah, and you know what? You know what the worst part is? No Boo Radley.
No Boo Radley?
Like, come on.
Remember that? Was it
How to Kill a Mockingbird? Is that what you're talking about?
Did we do that? Was that me and you, or just me? Where one time during a stream I just watched 8 minutes of How to Kill a Mockingbird.
I have not watched How to Kill a Mockingbird in years.
I watched it last year. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure it is. It was always ridiculous nonsense from the beginning, so it would be hard to, to change that.
Right. Well, my taste for ridiculous nonsense has changed from when I was 9.
That's true.
So, but this held up more than I would have expected.
And you know what? I shouldn't say there's no Boo Radley, because I don't know anything about Go Set a Watchman. Maybe Boo Radley is there, and he's a white supremacist.
Or he's some different person. Or he's probably not in it. I bet he's not in it. Go Set a Watchman set a record for highest adult novel day one sales at Barnes & Noble, which includes digital sales and pre-orders.
Your move, Stephen King. The Talisman 3 comes out next year. Hey, that's a thing that I'm excited about that I just found out about.
Talisman 3? I haven't read Talismans 1 or 2.
Supposedly, Stephen King and Peter Straub are working on the third Talisman book this year. A book that's been promised since the second one ended in a cliffhanger, like literally 20 years ago. So, yeah, that one's overdue.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Talisman, first one, really, really good. Second one, Black House, is like, it's okay.
Okay.
The big, this is a bit of a spoiler, but the big thing with Black House was that at the end of it, almost out of nowhere, the main character gets transported to and then stranded in Roland's world in the Dark Tower. And so that's like, oh shit, what a fucking cliffhanger, this dude's in the Dark Tower now. And then 20 years go by with like not a word.
That's sort of like the thing that happens with Dark Tower shit.
Yeah. I know that's like a lot of people were really upset about like the final Dark Tower books, because they were like, where the fuck is this guy from Eyes of the Dragon who's trying to find Flag? Where the fuck is Jack Sawyer who got stranded in Midworld at the end of Black House? Where the fuck is this guy?
Mm-hmm. Let me see. What's the last books that I read? I read the Thomas Pynchon book, Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice by Thomas Pynchon is not a Stephen King book that I'm familiar with.
No, it's not a Stephen King book. This was a I saw the announcement that Paul Thomas Anderson was making it into a movie. And
yeah,
so
it got made into a movie.
Oh, I should read that book. And not super into it.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. It was not great, and then I didn't see the movie because I did not come off the book super hot. But I heard
and this is the one where it's about a young girl and all the personified emotions inside her head, and Lewis Black is very angry.
Yeah, Inherent Vice. Yeah, that's that one.
Great.
I did see Inside. Did you have? There's children involved in your life. Did you see Inside Out?
Yeah, I saw Inside Out. Come on, dude.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was great.
I cried twice.
It was a super good movie.
I cried 2 times.
Probably, I think there's some like critic pull quote that's in one of the commercials that's like, the best idea Pixar has ever had for a movie.
It's not a Pixar movie, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just regular Disney.
No, it's Pixar.
Oh, well, good for them.
Good for them. Good
for
on
Pixar.
them.
They had a rough couple of years.
Yeah, you know what, Pixar, they deserve some success.
I'm glad that was Pixar because they had Cars and Cars 2 and they had Brave, and I don't like any of those.
Yeah, Brave was not that great either.
Yeah.
No, but there was another. Wasn't there another Pixar movie recently that was really good?
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up right now.
What was there?
I don't think so. I don't think that they're...
Well, I don't know.
Let's see. We're looking at Inside Out. Oh, Monsters University. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good, but it's not like.
I mean, I thought it was better than Brave and Cars 2.
For sure. There's a lot of things that are better than Cars 2. Holy crap. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, God, you could write a thesis about how terrible some of the main plot points of Cars 2 are, especially considering that it's a movie for children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fucking villain of the movie is like an environment. It's all about, like, an environmental fuel and big oil's making a fuel that's supposed to be environmentally friendly, but it blows up cars to try to discredit environmentally friendly fuels so that everyone will keep buying gasoline. Like, what the fuck? This movie's for 5-year-olds that want to see things go vroom. What are you, huh?
I mean, I'm not going to discredit them for trying to have a bigger thing happening in their movie. It's not rare for them. Like, Wall-E was about some pretty heavy shit, and that was a great movie. I think that the problem is that it was handled really poorly, and also it was terrible.
It was handled terribly.
So the fact that they handled it poorly and that the rest of the movie was terrible makes it stick out in a way that it didn't in something like Wall-E or, I don't know, A Bug's Life.
Fuck A Bug's Life.
I love A Bug's Life.
There's like, you know what's really good in A Bug's Life?
What? Everything. All of it.
Like the monologue from the cricket at like the beginning.
You should watch A Bug's Life again.
I have watched A Bug's Life again.
A Bug's Life is top 5 for me.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, there's only 15.
You're talking about top 5 Pixar or top 5?
Pixar.
Okay. If you were gonna say top 5 movies,
No,
I would just drive to your house and murder you right now.
Top 5 movies. Let's see. We got Wet Hot American Summer, Blade Runner, The Way, Way Back.
Really?
Yeah, that movie's phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah. Start to finish, that movie's phenomenal. That's what I use for my top 3, so let's see.
Well, what if I started at the beginning and then I get halfway through? Is it still good? Or do I have to watch it start to finish for it to be good?
You have to watch it start to finish for it to be good.
Okay.
I liked it the whole way through, but you have
Can
to
I start in the middle and go to
movie.
the end, or
No, watch the whole thing all the way through.
Oh, come on. I don't have all day.
Watch it. You have to watch it from front to way, way back. And then, let's see. Let's go with, I don't know, some 5th one.
Did you ever see Boyhood?
No. Oh, hold on. I have to answer a text.
Why do you say it like that?
I was being a dick.
Oh.
Tell me about Boyhood.
Boyhood was pretty fascinating. You know about it?
But that's the one that was filmed over 12 years or whatever?
Yeah. Was it like 12 years?
12?
That sounds about right. I think it was like 12 years. It was just really fascinating to watch these people grow up. And it was like, because you've never seen it before. And even though it's almost like a weird gimmick, it's a gimmick that works shockingly well.
Yeah.
And what the funny thing was, for the first half of the movie, at each different era, I kept like in my head, because I was still in the mode of like watching movies like that the way I normally do, which is anytime something is in the past, it's all like a facsimile. Like it's all a creation.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I'm really surprised with how well the people in this movie got like all the fashion and technology and music of that very specific year.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, I realized I'm a fucking idiot. These all were filmed in the year that they are.
So this is my thing about that. Okay, so I had this thing with Shadows of Mordor where I was like, the reason that I didn't play Shadows of Mordor was because everybody kept talking about the mechanics of that game and the Nemesis system and the way that those things interacted with each other, and nobody said anything else about it. And so in my head, it was this game with no story or like literally nothing holding up that stuff, which, you know, after I played it, turned out it was true. There is nothing holding that stuff up.
Yeah.
And so Boyhood is a similar thing for me, where like I hear about that gimmick, but then I don't hear anything else about it, so I literally have no idea what that movie is about.
Yeah.
So it just kind of seems like a kind of half-hearted tale about growing up wrapped in the gimmick of he actually grew up. Which, yeah, of course he did.
You know what? I'm not going to tell you that that's a totally inaccurate summation of Boyhood.
Okay.
But it is kind of like, it feels really weird and disjointed, and there's kind of like plot threads, but obviously the plot threads are followed over several years, so they kind of like fall apart real quickly. But it kind of, I don't know, it just has this really resonant quality where it kind of makes you think about life, and you kind of think about how, like, oh yeah, like there are just like your life does sort of kind of sometimes branch off in these like weird dead ends where something seems incredibly important and life-changing at the time, and then all of a sudden like 10 years goes by and that thing that happened is just something that happened 10 years ago, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that. That's something that I hold on. There's that like, you know, you go through something and then you're like, this sucks in like as little as 2 months. This is not going to bother me.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. That's fun. I like that.
It's very interesting.
I'll check it out.
Very interesting. And you're not likely to see another movie like it for quite a long time, if ever.
Right.
It's kind of like a
Linklater
thing. If you say so.
Richard Linklater?
Do you say so?
I'm saying so.
Then let it be so.
Filmography. Boyhood. Yeah, nailed it. I've been watching a lot of plays recently. On YouTube, like performances of plays.
Huh?
Yeah,
What's that?
I don't know. Like, well, it started because I rewatched.
You're talking about like Lion King the musical on Broadway. You got people with like animal heads on their
Lion
head.
King the musical. No, I was talking about some shit, and it reminded me of a play that I was in, called The Dumbwaiter, a Harold Pinter play, and like there's a huge section of my life where everything that I wrote sounded like Harold Pinter knockoff.
What's that?
Harold Pinter?
Yeah.
He's a writer.
Who's that?
He's a playwright from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
What did he write?
Kind of weird political
Have I heard
guy.
of anything that he's written?
The Dumbwaiter. Have you seen the movie In Bruges?
No.
The Dumbwaiter inspired the movie In Bruges.
I've seen that movie in Lexington. But I've never watched it in Bruges.
Oh, okay.
I've never done anything in Bruges, let alone watch a movie.
Have you seen the movie titled In Bruges?
Oh, God, I feel so dumb now. No, I haven't seen that one either.
It's very good, based on the dumbwaiter. Anyway, I really like the play. I've read a bunch of Pinter stuff, and then I got into watching, like...
Seems kind of mean to this waiter.
No, Kyle,
kind of talking down to this guy.
Okay,
He's
so
probably
Kyle,
trying his hardest.
No, okay, so Kyle, a dumbwaiter is like a little elevator that brings food up and down stairs for you. For rich people.
That's really mean. Now you're reducing
Kyle,
this person to an object. You're treating him like he's some sort of fixture in the building.
Kyle, that's literally what the play is about. The play is about how, working under a capitalist structure reduces people to tools and then also makes them feel inferior and self-conscious and aware of this cycle of being used as a tool versus also having to impress the people that are using you.
So this is a fantasy play.
This is a fantasy play.
This doesn't take place in the real life.
No, it doesn't. It takes place in England.
Middle Earth.
Yeah, or Midworld.
Sure. Well, it certainly doesn't sound like it's taking place in In-World.
No. Or Inside Out World, which is the theme park based on hit Pixar movie.
Jack Black
Jeff
God
Black.
damn it.
Jeff Black. What's his name? Is it Jeff Black?
Louis Black.
Louis Black? I was trying to do Louis Black, and it was Jeff Beck and Jack Black all in one.
Inside Out, Pixar movie, and Louis Black vehicle.
Yeah. Anyway, then that got me into rereading a bunch of Samuel Beckett stuff, who's an Irish playwright that Harold Pinter was to a degree inspired by thematically, whose stuff kind of deals with the roteness of life before death more than the roteness of life under capitalism. Specifically the play Waiting for Godot, which is a play that I really like a lot.
Keith.
Yeah?
If there's not, like, vampires or, like, an evil hotel or, like, a kid that can see the future or some combination of those three things, I really can't even follow what you're talking about.
Okay. I can tell you that there is a character named Estragon.
Oh?
Yeah. The title characters are Vladimir and Estragon.
That's that's a 17-sided shape?
It's a 17-sided 3-dimensional shape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, I want to correct myself for being a doof. Is that the title's Godot, not Godot. It's late.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's up?
No, I think we have reached the end of the newest, hottest, latest edition of the Run Button podcast.
Time to close the old podcast down. Shut this whole thing down.
Shut them all down. Hurry.
Hurry. Close your windows. Lock your doors. Keith and Kyle gotta go. I'm your host, Keith Carberry.
And I'm your host, Kyle Churchill.
Kyle, you can find a podcast that I'm on that you're not on iTunes called Friends at the Table. The second season of that just started.
Yeah, I'm a little it didn't occur to me until recently. Suddenly I'm like a little sad that I'm not a part of that. Like all of a sudden one day it hit me like, hey, how come I'm not on that thing?
Because I was around and you weren't around.
Made me a little sad. A little bit of a sad boy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, buck up, soldier.
Hey, sure. Go set a watchman. Which I assume means something.
I think it means, like, pick the person that you want to be the lookout. Right? Like, because, Atticus can't be the watchman anymore. He was the moral compass, but now you're like, oh shit, he can't be the moral compass. He's this crotchety old racist. We have to figure out how we decide who we let be our moral Jiminy Cricket. Who set a watchman.
Yeah,
that's my read on it, having never even heard of this book before. What's up?
You know who that moral compass you pick?
Who?
The Cacodad.
The Cacodad.
That's right.
Everybody, sweet dreams. Go listen to good old Kako Dad and lay your head down for dreams. Let the sweet Kako Dad whisper nothings into your ear as you fall into slumber.
Now I just remember, I just imagining these different Doom enemies, you have to wait over here in this closet until the Doom guy walks by. Kako Dad, you're always telling me what to do. Fuck you, Kako Dad.
Fuck you, Kako Dad. You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me when to go to bed. I'm gonna stay up all night.
Now, son.
No, Kako Dad.
The Dark Lord spawned us onto this earthly plane to cause mayhem.
You're always like, Dark Lord this, Dark Lord that. That guy doesn't own you. He doesn't own us. Stand up for yourself, Kako Dad. And stop spitting out your little flaming demons at me.
Son, it's what I was made to do. It's like I always say, find out what you're good at and then have someone spawn you onto the earthly plane to do it.
Ugh. I want to be a dentist. I don't have any arms.
I've got 2 strong ones, but they're little. I like to wiggle them sometimes.
I'm going to follow my dreams. I'm not going to be like my Kako Dad. My Kako Dad's a fucking tool of the masses. No,
Son,
he is a masses. He's a tool of the 1%.
Son, you wound your poor old Kako Dad. And scene.
Hope you're all sleeping now. Hope that play has drifted you off into dreamland.
Yeah, I think we just wrote the spiritual successor to the dumbwaiter.
I think that we just did. The smart Kako-son. Go set a Pinky.
Oh, I'm looking at a Pinky Demon right now. He's mad.
Have you been playing Doom while we're trying to do a podcast?
No, I'm just looking at Google image search results that have just been sitting on my screen forever.
All right, well, podcast over. Good night. I'm the host. Bye.
I'm also the host, and I'm the big host. This is your big host signing off. Go do something with your life. For once in your goddamn life. Huh? Hey, you listen to your Kako Dad for once. Go make something of yourself. You great big waste of demonic juice. Right? Huh? Don't look at me like that. I'm your Kako Dad. And I just want what's best for you. My will is his will, which is your will. Kako-son. Where are you going?